Hello and welcome to Matt's Reloading Bench. So, I've got a question for you guys. Who out there uses multiple presses? Um, what I mean is, do you use one press for one type of reloading? Like for me, for all my precision reloading, I use my RCBS Rock Chucker. It's just a single stage press. There's nothing fancy about it, but it works great and it's very consistent for what I do. For people that load 223, 556, 9 millimeter, 45 ACP, it might be more conventional to use a progressive press. And then there's all your accessory presses. You know, some people have benchtop mounted primers. Some people have benchtop mounted depriming systems. I recently acquired the Lee ACP priming system. So I just wanted to have something where I can mount that all on my bench, but not have to use multiple holes in my bench top to do it. And with that, I'm going to be using the InLine Fabrication base and mounting system. So I've got all this in front of me. I'm going to go ahead, get it unpackaged, and give you a once over on what all I have for this setup. So in front of us, I've got the 7.5-inch stand. This is the quick mount plate for the RCBS press. This is the quick mount plate for the Hornady AP. This is a flush mount spacer, and this is the flush mount base plate. So the first thing I'm going to do is put all this stuff to the side, and I'm going to assemble the stand. InLine Fabrication makes raised mounting bases both in 9 3/4 inch, 7.5-inch, which is what this one is, and a 4-inch tall, and then a flush mount. In front of me are all the parts for the 7-inch setup. And it's actually pretty simple. It's got these tapered hex screws, and they just fit in like so. And if you look, everything is below the surface. So when you put your user plate on, it'll sit on here and your mounting screws will not interfere with any of the system. Because I'm going to be using this stand for right now as just a storage unit on one of my shelves, I'm going to assemble it with the tapered part of the feet forward so that it's got a little bit of counterweight so it can take weight on the front without wanting to tip. The first thing that I'm going to do is get the washers and lock nuts on. Then I'm going to use my fat wrench and a socket to tighten that up. Then I'm going to go ahead and get the other side set up. All right, so that's all tightened up. And this is a really solid unit. There's nothing for flex. It's all 3/16-inch steel that's been powder coated. So for right now, I'm going to take this and set it off to the side. Now I've got my flush mount base. So I'm going to go ahead and get this unpackaged. All right, so we've got instructions. So what's going to end up happening is this will go on my bench like so. And this will go right over the top of it. Interesting little tidbit. So for my workbench, it's about 4.5 inches thick. And I'm not going to be able to use just a regular bolt with a washer and lock nut. So I'm going to run to the hardware store and see if I can't get some other kind of screw that has that tapered head on it so that it can still be below surface. Hold on. All right, so I went and got some different screws. That way I can screw it directly into the wood of my workbench. First things first, I need to figure out exactly where I want to have this. My previous placement for my RCBS that I had was right here. For this, I want it out more this way because I don't like feeling so cramped up to the corner. I'm gonna set that sucker up right there. So I'm gonna outline all my circles. And I just want to double check, make sure I'm doing this right. All right, I'll have plenty of space here. All right, good to go. So I will get my drill bits, drill pilot hole to start. First things first, we will put down the spacer plate. And we'll put down the base plate. All right. My next step is going to be putting the quick change mount and fastening it to the RCBS press. So this is what it looks like. This is the top face. This is the underside. Underneath these rubber protectors are screws that the wing nuts will mount onto when these screws go through this hole here on the base. So first things first, open up the little packet of hardware here. And put those in like so. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start one of the two bolts, because in the RCBS it's a slot in the base and not a hole, so at least I can get it started. All right, so the Allen on these screws are going to be 7/32. The Allen screw is going to be a 7/32, and the nut is 9/16. So one thing that I want to do now that I've got these almost tight is I want to make sure that this plate is centering itself in those notches. So that's the max it can go that way. That's the max it can go this way. So I want to find somewhere kind of right in the middle so that it doesn't have a binding point in those slotted grooves. And then I can go ahead and tighten these babies down. The hardware that comes with this is pretty freaking beefy, which I like to see because there's at times a lot of torque that you're using on these presses, especially when you're doing like the resizing. Depending on how large of a cartridge you have, it may take a little bit of force. Now that the plate is mounted to the press, all I have to do is that, and then it's a wing nut here and a wing nut here. So now, boom, and that is a solid freaking system. There is no movement whatsoever. As you can see, I've got everything mounted to my bench. I've got the plates mounted on my press. So if I want, I can have my RCBS, or I could have my Hornady AP press, or I could have my Lee ACP priming tool. But as you can see, this platform is very versatile, and it is very easy to change out. All I have to do is unscrew the two wing nuts, and it just lifts out, and I can take a different press and put it in. You just drop it in the rear slot, let the guide pins go through, and screw your wing nuts back on. And it's that simple. I am so happy that I decided to get this system, and I feel that it's going to work out great. If you have any questions about these mounting systems, please let me know in the comments section down below. Also, give me that thumbs up so that YouTube knows that you like my videos. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you know when my next video comes out. And until next time, shoot straight and be safe.